Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So from today onwards, we are starting a new series on Git crash course. And this introduction will be just show you like what all content we are going to cover in this course and what will be in this. So within this, it will be kind of we'll start from the basics of Git and we'll take it to the advanced slowly, right? Because as of today, Git is a much needed technology, right? It's not only the developer, rather DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, or I have seen that IT students also is using a Git, right? So we need to understand the Git, what Git is, what is the requirement in the industry, and how we can use it, how we can keep the thing, how we can install it, right? No matter if you are working on the GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Gitea, or any other Git server, right? But if you don't understand the Git properly, right? If you don't understand the workflow, how it work, right? Then probably it will be a problem for us, right? So we just need to make ourselves friendly with the Git fundamentals and the Git working flow, right? So that it will become a smooth and professional and error-free zone for us for the uses of the Git, right? So within this course, what I will going to learn is let me just make a note of all the content and then probably will slowly move to the next stage. Okay, so in this course, as I mentioned, we are going to start from the absolutely basics, right? And then probably we'll move it to the professional level Git uses where we talk about the advanced uses of the Git. So obviously, we're gonna start from the introduction of the Git, where I will just give you a introduction of Git, like what Git is, why everyone uses it, what is the like how exactly it is working behind the scene, and if we need to use a Git, then what exactly the problem it will gonna solve for us. Then we'll see how you can install a Git, right? There are other way. There are already a public hosted Git servers which you can use like GitHub, Bitbucket, right? But what if you need to install your own Git, right? So probably I'll show you a lightweight GitHub Git server, a Gitea, how you can install within your own lab and then you can get the feel of your real Git server where you can set your all these setups and everything. Then we'll start with the basics command of the Git. Git basics I'm gonna start where I will show you okay how you can create a file, what are all those areas where will how it can track the file, what is staged area, how you can commit it, and creating the repositories, right? And if you have already committed, if you want to see the history, then how you can check all these. Then we'll move to the something called branch, branch, and merge. So this is the most important part in say, right? Because branch and merge will matter, right? Why it matter? Because this is the main benefit we use a Git so that it can give a parallel usage of our code, right? Maybe as of now you don't need to understand in deep what exactly the branch is and merge is, but it is the one of the benefit, right, which give you when you use a Git. Then we'll see that okay, if you don't want to manage only the local repository and if you want to working with the remote repository, then how you can do it, right? So we'll see working repository apart from this, and maybe before that, not working, it is local and remote. Local and remote repository, we will see how you can manage, how you can push your code if the repository is already there, and if you want to pull the code, how you can pull it, how you can clone your code, what is the authentication methods we can see, right? All these gonna thing we'll see inside this, right? Then we'll start with the Git workflow. How the exactly the Git working, what is the features, what are the branches, right? Maybe a hotfix feature, uh, or what is a pull request when you do, how a pull request can be approved, how a particular change which you have done inside your code, that we will see inside the Git workflow. And maybe you can give some protection, you can set some rules as well, so that will also going to cover under Git workflow. So that is the I think comes under some basics to intermediate. Then once we are familiar with all these concepts, then we'll do start with some little advance where we can just troubleshoot the Git, or maybe if you are doing some mistakes, right? So how you can undone your mistake. So next maybe I will gonna see undone your mistake, where I will show you how you can reset your Git, how you can restore your file, or if you want to revert, right, or if you want to unstage the file which you committed by mistake, what are the Git ignore file, what is the use of those. So all these things, right, where we can go like uh, like we can travel back in time so that we can recover our mistakes. Once that is done, then I will show you little advanced Git where we will see that how the advanced Git will be helpful in a DevOps pipeline, where we will gonna discuss the what is the cherry pick, what is the stashing, if you want to put some kind of tag and releases, how you can put that, how you can squash your commit, and if you rewrite your history, right, with the some whatever that you have done. So all these something we will gonna see under the advanced Git. So that is the topic I think I will gonna show you, like how you can uh, uh, use a Git and what all you can play with the Git, right? Maybe there are few things which by the time if we undiscover, then I will add in this topic, but I think that is enough, more than enough. If you understand this part of Git, then maybe we are just from zero to hero we can become for in terms of the Git user, right? So that's all we will gonna discuss. And the bonus part is here I mentioned that Gitia, right? I will show you how you can install your local lightweight Git server, right? Because I have already done, let me show you. So here you can see that this is the local Git server. You can see that it is running on my VM, which I just created for this course only. And how you can set this, what are the repository you can create, what how you can make it for the pull, if you have the repository already there, how you can add the file, what are all these options we have, if you want to switch to a different branch, how you can do, if you want to set some tag, and basis on that tag if you want to do it. So all these things we will gonna see. Apart from that, we have some few settings. So it is a kind of, I will not say that exactly 100% copy of the GitHub, but yeah, it will give you a taste of that Bitbucket or GitHub, how exactly the thing is going to work in this. So here you can see that we have almost identical things which we have in this, how you can put a rule for the branch protection, how you can add more collaboration, webhook, you can put tags, right? So all these things we will gonna see slowly once we move towards our course. So in next video probably I will show you how you can install this Gitia server, and in the local machine also, if you are using this thing Linux based machine or maybe Windows based machine, how you can install this Git and you can take a leverage of this, right? So that's what the course content we are going to discover. But let me just give you a taste like how, why we need to understand Git, why we need to learn the Git, right? So what is Git is? So basically, Git is a version control system. It helps you to track changes in your code, collaborate with your teams, and maybe it will give you a security probably where you will not lose any file. So when I say the version control system, so what exactly the version control system is? Let's say today you have created a file, right? uh, let's say a first file. Okay, I have created a first file and I made some changes in this file from on the day one. Now, after a few days, there is a requirement to update this file, and I have updated this file. Now, this file is here, it was, let's say, created, and it was the first version of that file. Now, you have updated this file. Obviously, if you have updated, then you have the second versions of file. Remember, in our Kubernetes course, or maybe in general terms also, if you have seen that you have versions for each and every applications, right? And whenever a new versions will be released, and if that version is not working properly, so what generally we do, we roll back to a previous version. So similarly, Git helps us to roll back to our previous code, roll back to our previous version of. So it will gonna keep a track of your file on each versions, right? So that's what it is saying is a distributed version control system used to track changes in the source code or in the collaboration with others. What exactly it will do? It tracks changes. Like every time you edit the files or you save, it's gonna save a snapshot. What exactly it does is, like whenever you add a file, behind the scene, it cached that file in a git repository. Don't worry if you don't know .git. I will explain you maybe tomorrow like what is .git. But as of now, just understand when you add something inside a Git. So what Git does is Git just add that file in a or cached that file particular to that particular Git repository so that it can track that file. And that is something we call as a commit. So if you need, you can go back to the older versions anytime. Work in parallel. This is something related to the branches, right? If you have a code which is sitting on some central server, right? So within your team, all developers, all cloud engineer or the DevOps engineer can pull that code and they can work parallelly. So you don't need to uh, rely on that particular single file, right? Like if they have once they complete their task, then I will start. No, you can work parallelly. So multiple developers can work on the same project using the branches without affecting each other. So branches, as I mentioned, we will gonna discuss in our content. Collaborate easily, like obviously you can just store your code somewhere in the central and you can easily push, pull, and maybe clone to that particular repo, and you can work with your team easily, right? Now the question is, why do we use Git? Because Git is just a tool, right? Obviously it is a tool, but why do we need it? It is used by almost every IT company, right? But why? That is the problem we need to understand. It can track all changes. See, in earlier days, what is happening is we are keeping our code in a single repository, right? And that depends if you, being a developer, you are working on that code, then at the same time, nobody can work on that code because you are already running there, right? And maybe you are changing something, and in the same file if every another person will gonna also change, then maybe it will gonna clash. So in order to give a full hands-on, right, like full free hand, so that every developer can work on the code at any time, we can host our code on somewhere at central server. But that's where also it is not solving our problem, right? We can clone that particular code. We can make an identical copy of that code. Now each developer can work on that code and they can easily push and pull basis of on their commits. You can work in teams, you can create branches, you can roll back, you can deploy code directly from Git. It can be integrated easily with the CI/CD tool. Right? Probably I'll show you in the Jenkins as well, like how Git can help in the Jenkins, how the GitHub Actions, GitHub Lab CI or Argo CD in the Kubernetes world, right? Because Git is something that where you can store your code, right? And it can keep a track of each and everything. So that's where it can help us everywhere, right? So that is. And how exactly Git works, because it is a very smart enough high level understanding, is it is has a three main area. One is the working area, working directory, like where the project folder you create your file, your actual files, right? And when you are just creating something, adding something, right? You need to stage that area, right? You need to add that file to Git so that Git can track that file. Once you put that file in the staging area, this is something with the commit, it is ready to be pushed to the repository where Git store all your permanent changes. So this is a very high level understanding of Git, but don't worry, we'll start from tomorrow and we'll see each and everything in actions. When you modify a file, obviously you need to add it to that staging area and commit it, and once commit, it is permanently inside the repo. These are few basics command which generally we do, like you initialize the Git repository because you need to tell, right, Git to Git, okay, this repository I want to track. Once you initialized it, then a Git starts its works and it will keep an eye on each and every file inside that repository or maybe inside that folder directory, and it will give you a taste of that particular status. You can add, you can commit, push, pull. We will see all these commands in much deeper details later in this course, but as of now, just give you the binary uses, how a Git we can run. So this is the command, basically a flow which helps us to keep a track. So this is a real world example. Obviously, we have already discussed, like you have done something and you just push that to main branch, and then from there you have merged to the master branch, and you already pushed to the GitHub and all these things, right? We will see. Probably I will just try to create one project using the Jenkins. We will gonna build that project and we will deploy on the Kubernetes later in this course. We have two types of repository: local, when you keep your code locally, right? And if you want to host it centrally, then you have the remote repository which you can do, like I was showing here. This is a remote repository and you can push that. So whenever another person want this, they can just simply go and clone this repo using this, right? So that's how uh, the central repository or the remote repository is. Okay, so this is that the thing which I just wanted to highlight here. So again, why you should learn Git properly? As I mentioned, because learning Git properly will make you faster, will make you more confident, more professional, right? Whether you are a developer, DevOps engineer, Git as of today is a must skill anybody should have. Okay, so yeah, this was the introduction video where we discussed like what Git is and what all content we are going to cover inside this Git. So in the next episode, probably I will show you how you can install a Git and introduction of Git in little bit more detail on your operating system, whether you are using a Windows, Linux, or what. If you want to host your local Git server, how you can do, which is a very lightweight version of the Git server, and you can do. All right, so that's it for the day. If you are excited for this Git series, then hit and like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell icon so that you don't miss the next lessons. Right? So see you in the next video where we'll start our Git. So let's become Git master together. Okay? So stay happy, stay learning. Thank you.